A few days ago, Brock Purdy became the seventh highest paid quarterback in the NFL. We're going to go into some details on it, see if it hurt or helped the 49ers, and see how it's going to impact them moving forward on the long term and in the short term. And if we're looking at it, first off, just want to say Brock Purdy deserved to be paid at least some amount of money. His story is really incredible, going from the last pick in the NFL draft to doing what he did, going to a Super Bowl. He's been the most winning quarterback drafted in the seventh round in 40 years. So he has succeeded given where he was drafted without question. He really has. Now, I think where you start getting into some of the debates here is when you look at that list of the top 10 quarterbacks, the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks, I just don't know. I don't know if I see him in the same. He's getting more money. Think about it like this. He's getting more money right now than Lamar Jackson. And I know Lamar Jackson's deal was a little bit ago, but that's kind of, you put that together, that's a little crazy in my opinion. I think that Brock Purdy he's got the qualities that he has he's a good enough player with the right roster to win you a Super Bowl. I believe that. But I think a lot of things have to be in place. Kyle Shanahan, an offensive genius at head coach, truly one of the better ones that we've seen. He's been given that the entire run. And this is what I'll say. This is what I think Brock Purdy is. And this is not a diss. I'm not a Brock Purdy hater. I really admire what he has been able to do in his career so far. It's been inspirational. But I see no difference between him and Jimmy Garoppolo. Both have done similar things. Both took their team to the Super Bowl. Both were on the verge of winning a Super Bowl. Both had Kyle Shanahan in a stacked roster. And Purdy's roster was actually way more stacked than Garoppolo's. But I think as time goes on, Purdy will end a better player and have a much better career than Jimmy G did. But I see the same quarterback. That's what I've seen. I think if you put their numbers up side by side, it's glaring how similar it is. And that's what I see. So I would have no problem at all with Brock Purdy getting paid $45 million. That'd be a fine deal. That sets him up for the rest, like potentially the rest of his life. If you give him a contract worth that per yearage, that's hundreds of millions of dollars. Putting him in the 53 million club in there with some of these top 10 guys, I just think the only thing it's gonna do at this point is hurt the future of their roster. Because if you look at it, if they would have put him on for 45, that could be another two players that help you to win the Super Bowl. That you got to look at the depth of the 49ers. The truth of the matter and the fact of the matter is that they have drafted poorly in the past couple drafts. They just have. They have not built the proper depth. They need depth right now. Christian McCaffrey, is he done? Is he shot? I think he comes back and he has a bounce back year. But what if he doesn't? These are questions that you have to start asking yourself at this point. And that division is really only getting better at this point. I think the Rams are a way better football team today than the 49ers. The window could be closed. You got to put the proper guys around Brock Purdy to win. He's not gonna save you. He's not going to save you and be the sole factor that you get to the Super Bowl. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to save you and be the sole reason that you get the playoffs. You need a good roster behind him. A lot of quarterbacks have needed that in their career. There's not a problem with that. And I think he's capable. You saw that Trey Lance, who they drafted, was incapable. I think Brock Purdy's better than Tua as well. But I just don't think that he's in the conversation where you would pay him that much money, because you need to factor what he needs around him, and what he needs around him is a proper, tangible roster that can help them in situations and games. And we'll see. But if you look at it, everything that has been the stereotype of Brock Purdy has come true. Everything completely has. The year where they have this super stacked roster, he's really good. There's no issues. Everybody's praising him. Last year, what happened? What happened was everybody got hurt, and he had nothing that he could do. There's nothing that he was able to do. And it led to them being abysmal, missing the playoffs. And now you're throwing it back. I think a lot of people out there are throwing it back and saying, oh, well, he didn't have anybody to get the football to. He didn't have any skill guys. Well, I see Lamar Jackson overcoming that. I see Joe Burrow overcoming that. I see Josh Allen overcoming that. I see Patrick Mahomes overcoming that. I even see Jalen Hurts at times overcoming that. I don't know. Those guys are all paid in the same class. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But I do, as I said, believe that Brock Purdy deserved to get played. I think that if he plays it out well, he could be a Hall of Famer. But you just got to think, if you're the 49ers, why would you not pay him if you could have $45 million? It's two players you're talking about. There's only 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now where I'm giving them whatever they want. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, whatever they want money-wise, I'm giving it to them. Everybody else is a debate. Everybody else is a debate. Those 4, giving them any amount, anyone else is a debate. And at that point, you got to do what's best for your team. And we'll see. I think the 49ers will be a lot better this year, but it's going to come down to health. If Ayuk is hurt again, if McCaffrey's hurt again, if half that defense is hurt again, they lost people on defense too, which is a bummer for them. So you really got to see, and we're going to see throughout this year. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not a hater of Brock Purdy. I hope he goes out there, proves me wrong, and leads a lackluster roster to the Super Bowl. That'd be an awesome story. I'm not a Brock Purdy hater. I'm just saying, from a logic and realism perspective, you want to have more depth when you have a guy that's more of a field general of a quarterback, which is not a bad thing, but you got to start thinking about, how are we going to get to the Super Bowl? How are we going to win the Super Bowl? Sometimes you got to make people unhappy, and they went the other route.